I'm Ashton from EventChain for Investment Pitch Media and FinTech News Network. And today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Lyle Wagner, the president and founder of Connected Interactive. Lyle, thank you so much for being on the show. It's a pleasure to have you on today and to see you again.
Hi, Ashton. Yeah, good to see you, and always a pleasure to talk to you.
Likewise, let's learn a little bit about Connected Interactive today. I know you guys have spearheaded the digital advertising industry quite well so far, but for our viewers, could you give the vision and the purpose of Connected Interactive?
Sure. Yeah, our vision is simple. We're a data-driven marketing technology company focused on delivering the best performance for our clients and the best user experience and revenue for our publishers, whether you are a small gaming app or an automotive brand. So this means we like to dive deep into analytics to figure out the best strategies and tools to ensure advertiser ads get shown to people who are actually interested in them.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard work, but we love it.
It's hard work for sure. And most medium to large size companies that think about digital advertising always go straight to Facebook and Google Analytics and Google AdWords. So I'm sure as you are well familiar with the industry, you probably know this, but what are they missing out on by just using Facebook and Google to grow their client base, and why should they be using Connected Interactive as well?
Yeah, so Facebook and Google are great. I mean, they're great self-serve tools, and that's why they have such high adoption, and they do work very well. But what clients are missing out on is probably around 50% of the advertising market is actually not on Facebook and Google. There's thousands, millions of websites and apps out there, and not all of them are covered by those players. I mean, Facebook is its own ecosystem, and Google does not necessarily advertise everywhere, right? So that's a major factor. Another one is that they're actually walled gardens, and not a lot of people realize that. And when I say walled garden, I mean that they're closed ecosystems, and clients and publishers who work with them, the marketing data and the user data that they pass to those platforms, it doesn't belong to them anymore. It actually belongs to those partners, Google and Facebook. So it's a closed ecosystem. So what we can offer them is more transparency and openness with their marketing data, and just with the approach that we offer.
Mm-hmm. That's great to hear, Lyle. And that seems to be the common trend that everyone is saying now is the cost of Google and the cost of free products. It's almost like the end users have been turned into a product, and Google and Facebook own all of that analytics data that really the people who are the main companies that are using these services should be able to own their own data. So it's pretty crazy. And the end users seem to be bombarded with tons of different advertisements now, and the click rate seems pretty low. And many people have said that because of this, the advertising industry is broken. Do you believe that the industry is broken right now for regular ads, or is it working just fine?
I don't think it's broken. I mean, I think it can be improved, of course. And what you're referring to is Google showing ads to people in exchange for using Gmail. And I think that the principles of that actually make a lot of sense, because what they're doing is they're mining user data and then using that to figure out what ads to show to you. And on principle, it's a good idea, because users generally want to see ads that are relevant to them, and not just any random ad they're not interested in, right? But what they don't want necessarily is just to be inundated by ads all the time, and to receive, maybe they don't feel like they're getting anything in exchange for them. And what we've found actually is that when we first started Connected Interactive, we actually focused on the gaming industry, on free-to-play games, and showing ads to gamers. And what we would do is give them credits for watching our ads. So with these credits, they could use the credits in the game to enhance the game experience, like buy a better gun, or skip a level, or get more energy. And what we found was actually click rates from that model of advertising were significantly higher than our regular advertising that we were doing, where we weren't really giving users anything. So I think that shows that, if you do offer people something more, they're more receptive to advertising.
It's really interesting that you mentioned that. And what comes to mind in the blockchain industry right now is become a very popular web browser called Brave, which was actually created by the founders of Firefox. But in Brave, they have a Brave Rewards where you actually get paid to look at the ads. And if you don't want to get paid, then the ads can be turned off. Do you foresee the industry moving to this where everything is reward based, and whether you're earning some free tokens in a game or you're earning some cryptocurrency or some kind of points, no longer will you be force-fed ads without getting some kind of value?
It makes a lot of sense because, publishers are making money off of users' eyeballs through advertising, right? And through the data that they collect and pass along to advertisers in order to show ads on the site. So everybody is kind of getting a little piece of this. So it makes sense that the users would get something as well. And I can see that model growing. And as I mentioned before with gaming, it's already a big part of the gaming industry. I think that the regular publishing industry, like the online newspapers and blogs, I think that they could actually see a lot of success with monetizing their user base by actually offering them some sort of reward, as well as access to premium content through advertising.
Yeah, you really need to have some added extra value, or else people are just not being. They just won't click on ads that, even if they are catered to them, if there's no value for them, it seems that they need some extra compensation or points and things like that. And especially in that mobile gaming industry, it seems every game from Farmville, Candy Crush, and all these popular mobile games have really built in that special advertising sort of rule where it's free, but if you watch the videos, and may not even have to convert and click on them, but it's like, you need to be paid for your attention now, it seems.
Exactly. And that's just part of the gaming ecosystem. And I think it's just only going to grow to the rest of the online publishing space.
Great. Well, I'm very excited to announce as well that Connected Interactive and EventChain have now partnered together to bring more data analytics and customer interaction for medium to large event organizers that are using our blockchain ticketing system, and that's very excited. So what can you tell the event organizers and people that are hosting events that aren't using EventChain as well about why they should be using Connected Interactive for acquiring more ticket buyers and tracking their events as they grow?
Right. Well, simply put, we can ensure that EventChain customers have the most options in terms of promoting their event to the widest and most relevant audience possible. Typically, most events are just promoted on Facebook these days with organizers' email lists as well, and of course word of mouth, which is great. But if you're trying to reach a wider audience, you need to really, you really have to go find users wherever they are, and they're not always on Facebook. So we have the capability of reaching relevant users and figuring out who might be interested, who you haven't thought of before, based on data sets that we have and just some analytics that we can run across sites. We have the ability to reach people that may be relevant to your event. And then, of course, we have the analytics to show where these people actually came from. How much it costs to acquire them, and once they are acquired and they are a customer, EventChain makes sure through your blockchain technology that their ticket is safe and secure and isn't going to be used by somebody else.
Yeah, that's great that we've partnered up like that, because I believe that for our organizers, it's all about ensuring that you understand who your customers are. And even so, if tickets have been resold, it's very tough for organizers to know exactly who's at their event and their demographics, psychographics, so that you can provide the most value to those attendees and also get them the tickets they need for future events, as many event organizers are holding events once a year, once a month, and you want to ensure you retain your client base, right?
Exactly, exactly, and that's another thing that we can do is if you want to have multiple events, you want to make sure that you keep track of the users that have come to your last event, and either target them for your next one, or maybe you don't want to target them for your next one, or it depends. But we have the ability to do both of those things.
That's great. Now, as the blockchain industry progresses, as we are still quite early on, many of the people that are trying to implement blockchain into the advertising industry are saying that there are many middlemen between the advertising agency and the end user, and these publishers and other middlemen. Do you foresee, as blockchain grows, and the timeline of this is a whole nother question, but do you foresee the middlemen being cut out and there being extra value for the end users and it being lower cost for the advertising agency?
Well, that's a really good question. I think everybody's really talking about that in the programmatic advertising industry now, because right now the industry has gotten so big, but it's taken about 10 years to get to where it is now. And there are a fair number of players in between the advertisers and the users or the publishers, but there's a reason for that, and part of it is just the scale that we have now with the internet. Advertising before was pretty simple. If you wanted to advertise on a newspaper or a website, you would actually call them and make a deal. Well, nowadays, through data and through the need to advertise on multiple sites, it's just not that feasible anymore. Especially considering that there's millions and millions and millions of apps and websites, and potentially tens of thousands of advertisers that can advertise on any of these sites. So that's why there's so many middlemen. Now, what has happened with all those middlemen is there's somewhat of a lack of transparency. There's been some fraud. There's all kinds of issues, which is a sort of a natural evolution of the industry, unfortunately. So blockchain can really help with that, just because it allows for a lot more transparency and trust, as well as just being able to track exactly who has delivered the ad and where, right? And so I think that's just introducing blockchain into a lot of these transactions will allow for a lot more trust and transparency between advertisers and publishers.
Mm-hmm. That's great that you mentioned that. And one of the other topics that blockchain advertising companies have been touting is that there is a lot of ad fraud, and then over the next 10 years, that could reach up to $50 billion, which is a whole industry in itself. And as you just mentioned, the advertising industry has taken about 10 years to grow to how it is now with the size of the internet and with all of these agencies. And blockchain technology, mainly the start of Bitcoin, only started 10 years ago, and it's still in early adoption. It's really, even now in the last 5 or 3 years, it's still really in sort of the 1% of people that are actually utilizing this technology. Do you foresee, because we do see there are solutions using blockchain technology, it's just a matter of implementing them properly and providing adoption of that into the advertising industry. Do you foresee this to be a quick solution, or maybe it will take another 10 years for this to be properly implemented?
Well, I don't think it's going to take another 10 years. I hope it doesn't, anyways. But yeah, we've been working on fraud detection tools for about 6 years now. Just being able to analyze individual devices and their behavior, and by looking at those devices and how they're behaving, determining whether they're fraudulent or not. So I think if we can find a way to add blockchain to our ad campaigns with publishers and know exactly where they're getting delivered, that will actually be a big step in eliminating a lot of the fraud that's happening.
Yeah. And are you guys right now looking to expand with more strategic partners globally, or more investors, or just more end customers?
Yeah, we're always looking for more customers. We're always looking for more strategic publishing partners, of course. I mean, anybody who needs help with performance advertising or monetizing their site through data and advertising, we'd love to talk to them. And investors, I mean, if they're interested in our vision and what we're doing, of course, as long as they're fun to work with, we'd love to talk to them. So yeah, we're always open.
That's great, Lyle. And how can people learn more and get in contact with you guys?
Yeah, so you can just go to our site, connectedinteractive.com. You can reach me. My email is lyle@connectedinteractive.com. And I can relay you to the right person on my team who can help you.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time, Lyle. That's all the time that we have for today, but it's been a pleasure speaking with you and learning about Connected Interactive. And let's follow up in the near future.
Thanks, Ashton. Good to talk to you.